The whole family of coronaviruses are named coronavirus because corona means crown, and so this refers to the way that the virus looks under the microscope, like there's a crown on the top of the virus. Some of them, 4 or 5 different kinds, cause common diseases among humans, everything from the common cold to mild or moderate respiratory illnesses. Other kinds of coronaviruses affect animals. And sometimes, on rare occasions, we see coronaviruses jump from animal species into the human population. It is a new kind of coronavirus we haven't seen among humans before. The theory is that it may have jumped from an animal species into the human population and then begun spreading. We have seen some people that have died of this disease. So people are concerned because we don't yet know exactly how severe the disease will be. When a new virus emerges, we often have to learn much more about it. And one of the things that we question is, how does it transmit from person to person? We know that most respiratory viruses are spread by large droplets that come out when people cough and sneeze and stay aloft usually for about 6 feet in front of them. They land on surfaces and then can also be transmitted between person to person by touching those surfaces, such as doorknobs or other surfaces. Other viruses can spread in the air and stay aloft for a longer period of time in small droplet nuclei. For this current 2019 coronavirus, we're not yet sure whether it is droplet or airborne transmission. To understand how dangerous it might be. Right now, the majority of the cases are in China. We know that some travelers have brought the virus to other countries, including the United States. I think one of the main things to keep in mind is that this is respiratory virus season. We have a travel alert that was issued by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. So at this time, until we know more, avoid non-essential travel. Health systems across the nation are busy right now preparing to safely identify, isolate, evaluate, and care for patients with the 2019 novel coronavirus. We have the capability of doing this safely by utilizing personal protective equipment, by implementing travel screening so that we can quickly identify patients who have risk factors for the disease, and then implementing isolation precautions, the use of personal protective equipment, and other measures to make sure that we limit the spread.
Tonight, a glimpse inside a nightmare. A race to save lives in the Italian hospital at the epicenter of the deadliest coronavirus outbreak in the world. And this is just the emergency ward, not the intensive care unit. The ICU is already overwhelmed. Those plastic bubble helmets are connected to ventilators to help the gasping patients breathe. This hospital is one of the most advanced in Europe, but the victims are everywhere, on gurneys, in waiting rooms, in hallways.
It's a very severe pneumonia. Every day, 50 to 60 patients who come to our emergency department with pneumonia.
They say they want the rest of the world to know that this is what's waiting for them if nations don't lock down.
I never felt so stressed in my life. We are doing our best, but maybe it's not enough.
Thousands of volunteer student doctors in Italy are being rushed to the region. And an American relief group has airlifted a field hospital. But there are fears it will not be nearly enough. And Italy's nightmare is now being shared by Spain. Deaths there soaring by 30% overnight, 199 fatalities in 24 hours, over 1,000 total deaths.
Tonight, Italy reporting a devastating new death toll. At least 793 people succumbing to the virus, its biggest one-day jump. More than 4,800 have died. The scenes in hospitals horrifying as overworked doctors struggle with this wave. In the north, local cemeteries have run out of space. One doctor treating patients now showing symptoms, quarantined at home, describing the unspeakable tragedies.
You can imagine once these patients are admitted at the hospital, the friends, the parents, the relatives, they can see no one anymore. Some of them die alone.
Spain, now the second worst hit country in Europe, also reporting its biggest one-day increase, more than 1,300 dead since the outbreak. And in Britain, now a ghost town, a 25% increase in fatalities. They know at least 5,000 infected.
Another 47 people were evacuated from the Diamond Princess cruise ship and from the region in China where the coronavirus originated, for a total of 63 patients. They are being treated in 8 different states. But overnight, more suspected cases are popping up, some of them leaving doctors with more questions. Michael George is here with the latest. Michael, good morning.
Good morning. There are new suspected cases in California, Oregon, and Washington. Doctors treating the 2 patients in California and Oregon don't know how either of them may have contracted the disease. None of the patients had traveled to an area where coronavirus has circulated, nor have they come into close contact with a confirmed case. As health officials try to contain the virus, it continues to put millions of people in this country on edge and rattle the markets. While the Centers for Disease Control haven't confirmed the diagnosis, the patient is in isolation at a hospital. The CDC says it's aware of another suspected case of community spread in Santa Clara County, California. Health officials say the patient is an older woman with no known contact with the disease. While the CDC is trying to track down anyone who's come into contact with these patients, the government health agency admitted Friday there's a shortage of test kits. So far, fewer than 500 people in the U.S. have been tested. Meanwhile, stores have been selling out of face masks, and the FDA warned there could be potential disruptions to supply or shortages of critical medical products, with as many as 20 medications with ingredients from China already at risk. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was clobbered for a 7th straight day. The key stock index lost 3,500 points this week, wiping out more than $3 trillion worth of value.
This has happened fast and furious, and there's way more unknowns than there are known.
The travel industry could suffer as well, losing potentially more than $46 billion a month, as United Airlines announced it's suspending service to major hubs in Asia. Americans are canceling more trips, while travel insurance demand jumped 60%.
We're telling people that they should make sure their health insurance is in place before they go, that they should see their health provider before they travel, and certainly have all their health insurance documents with them when they're traveling.
And a number of colleges and universities are suspending their study abroad programs and recalling students to the U.S. And Amazon has told its 800,000 employees to postpone any non-essential travel, both internationally and within the U.S. Jeff?
Well, all right, Michael, thank you very much. While U.S. health officials work to contain the spread of the virus here, 8 more countries announced their first cases on Friday. To date, more than 83,000 cases have been reported worldwide, the vast majority in China. Cases have been confirmed in 53 nations. The virus is blamed for more than 2,800 deaths so far since it was first reported late last year. This morning, the State Department is urging Americans to reconsider travel to Italy, where there are more cases than anywhere outside Asia. Charlie D'Agata is in Rome. Charlie, good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. Nowhere in Europe has been hit as hard as Italy. Another 200 or so cases have been announced, and now there are new fears that this virus may have been around for weeks before it was picked up.
There is growing evidence that Italy has not only been one of the epicenters of the global outbreak, it helped export its spread around the world.